welcome to another episode of Ron's O-Gauge Train Journey. All right, this is my tour, Ron's tour of his train layout. That used to be my work table. It got in a problem because that's the family room, and I always had stuff out. Somebody didn't quite understand that a work in progress means you got stuff out. We had a guest that was in our room for a couple years, so this now became available. This is my workshop area and storage. I'm still working on a variety of different things, but I do have some HO scale. The green one there was my first one that I had, actually second. I had another one when I was born. My dad bought me one. We were overseas. It was a Marklin, and we had to sell it because it wouldn't come back in the barrel that we ship things with. So he got me this Bachmann when we came back, and I have a few of those. And my 636 that needs some work on the switcher. Anyway, gives me storage space and different projects there. Those Lian Chin containers are really good for that, holding that, and a variety of different storage options. But my training room is actually in the crawl space. So as you can see here, and this used to be where my kids played and could have stuff out. And we had an HO table up here with some AFX cars. And when they moved out in 2018, I decided to make a connection with my dad. And so we moved the Legos, as you can see. It's built over an old, so that kind of limits it. And the height makes an issue. But I've had some items that came with my original two pieces, which were my uncle's 259, and I had one for my brother-in-law's 246 over there, I think. Yep, up top. So I started adding more pieces. I have added shelves. There's a Mark section, and pre-war Lionel, and Mark's is kind of invaded. And then I have over here post-war Lionels, and all of these have been added since 2018. There's my flyer. I gotta add another shelf there. I have a piece of wood there for another flyer connection. And here's a rolling chair that I made for my dad so he can sit on and he can roll in better. He's 87 years old. And there's a box of tracks and other stuff that has been donated. But this, I'm embarrassed to show you, again, up above here, storage. And the controller. There's more that have come up. I added this section here at one point in time because I was testing out. I needed a place to run my Marks, that old pre-war that couldn't run in my Lionel when I had switches up here. And my switches went bad, so I had to take them off to rebuild them, and I haven't put them back on. The idea was to add a wall piece with painting mural. I have somebody that was going to paint it. Extend a 4-foot section here with 2 foot at the end to make this larger, and then add the wiring, because right now the wires are just connected to quick connect things. I have lamps, as you can see, and plans to do lighting and all that stuff, but My granddaughter really loves this area and wants to climb and get into that area. It's always a mess. And, well, it's hard to say no to that. I got to get her interested in it and keep her going. But I would really like to get this wired properly and have a separate wiring for the building lights. And some of the tracks are hardwired, and you can see, but there's a connection over on the other side that's not. Anyway, that's it for this. I'm going to turn on the lights and get them running and show you that with them running. So that's it for this part. Things I've done is update lighting, because originally those lights weren't there and it was hard to see. And the ability to turn things down is a good thing. I can just hit some switches and some of that will go. And most of this is LED lighting, so it's not maxing out. Those of you with electronical things would say, well, Ron, you're gonna set a fire. And my kids tell me that, so I've gone to LEDs up here, but things work fairly good. I'll get this going. New Flyer cars that I got from somebody. I always sucker for red lighted cars, and you can see some of the lights go on with that track. I'll get the other one going. New Haven set going backwards with some special candy cars that I put together. They're old vintage tins that I added to Mark's tanker cars, and they fit perfectly. Let's get this one going. My unique art train. And those lights, those are over there lit. So currently we have no switches, but turn off some lights. And you can see there's some lights in various things. Around this side. The buildings would be nice to be all lit, but they're not. I gotta figure out granddaughter priorities, or maybe I'll lift this table up and I add the wiring in a way that I can eventually add the other piece to the back. Filling into the back there means I can't crawl around, and my granddaughter can't crawl around either. The other side, so it is what it is. So I've been playing around with different formulations of things. Over there you see a director set bridge that I made. There's a house behind it that doesn't make sense, but figuring out where I could, in this formulation, put stuff, put roads. I added a bank, and that Mark's gas station, and a grocery store, and some houses. And I had a business section. I was going to put a circle here. This is a hardware store from my wife's hometown that I recreated out of the thing from fabric stores. Over there is a mountain tunnel That's from her hometown, Kendall. Again, other things here that don't make sense, like a house over here and a school over there. But I gotta figure out how to make it do and still keep this alleyway here if I'm not gonna build it. Always the plans I have on paper don't always correspond to the 4x8 sheet. Okay. The other part of town. Grocery store and that. I don't know, maybe I should just list up this piece here and add the wiring proper in a way that I can eventually add on these other two pieces. But we'll see. It's a work in progress.